shit, dude.
Bro,
all right, man.
Before we go talking anywhere else, you gotta go to that Make Me Feel Good story with that kid. That was the water boy for this team that the team that just won their league.
All
and
right,
they pulled him out of the stand.
Yeah, man.
Just because everybody needs a good, there we go, good feel good story, man.
For sure, man. So basically, set the table a little bit. Is this rugby? Is it Australian rules football? What are we watching?
Man, I don't even know what it is, but all I saw was a tweet that put with it that said that this young man was the water boy for the team, and he wasn't allowed on the field or wasn't allowed to be there for the team for whatever reason.
Okay,
and then they saw him celebrating.
Season.
Yeah, saw him celebrating, and then he was like, "You got to come down here," right? Which is great, man. I love this dude. Like, this kid's been part of their season and wasn't able to do that, and then now he gets an opportunity to come and party with their guys, bro. Right?
Nothing better, bro. Nothing better than partying on the pitch with your favorite players. But yeah, dude,
and he's just so stoked. Like, and this is I don't know, man. This is exciting. This is
I think this is
cool
Australian Football League, bro. AFL.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go, dude. And we've been watching some AFL, man. We've been learning more about Australian football. Great stuff, dude. We're big fans of Josh Giddey, and that is why we're trying to figure out more about the game of Australian rules football, because there's some things going on in that game that are different than any other sport that I've ever seen. They've got some elements.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Crazy and beautiful.
It reminds you of American football in the tackling and the shape of the ball, and the fact that they kick it in in between some goalposts and things like that. But outside of that, it's not really like football. Like, you got to dribble the ball, you got to be able to pass the ball. There's different passes, and that's really what got us into it. We have a listener on YouTube who said, check out some Australian rules football if you want to learn more about Josh Giddey's game, and that'll help you out. And like, one of the things that I've noticed with Australian rules football is they cradle the ball and then they punch it, right? And they punch through. They teach you to punch into your hand and stuff, right? But one of the things I've been noticing is the way that Josh Giddey cradles the ball and throws it almost like a disc. Yeah. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a common way to hold the ball for Australian rules football. And there are certain things like a smack where you can pass it. You have to punch the ball. I think we're going to see Josh Giddey's creativity in passing go to another level. We've seen some hints of it. We're like, oh, he's one of the most creative passers we've ever seen. But it's also like he's been cautious to really unleash it. So as I learn more about footy, that's the game that's how he references it when he talks about he played footy growing up. Well, that's Australian rules football. We need to learn about it if we're going to really understand Josh Giddey. So I need to give a massive shout out to to our YouTube listener or watcher, just because it's important. Like, we're open to learning, and we appreciate you sharing that information with us for sure.
Yeah, and it's the aspect of what Josh Giddey can do. Now, I'm looking at this year, and I know we're going to see his assist increase per game, but I'm not expecting a massive increase just because, we don't have Chet. We're not going to have Shea at the beginning of the season at this moment. So knowing that, I kind of sit back here and I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? How are we going to be able to see what Josh can do, right? And I think it's about being patient. I think it's about recognizing that some of these passes aren't going to be easy shots for guys to hit. And then next year, they will be. So I expect the following year 3 for Josh Giddey, to see the biggest increase in assists. But until we get to that point with Chet down in the block for him, I think it's going to be a learning year for him of how to get the ball to the big guys, a.k.a. Jay Will, JRE, Mike Muscala, how to get to the big guys successfully. Something that I felt like he did a good job last year, but there's no doubt he knows how to get the ball to the guards and get the guards open and getting the ball. So I would like to see that like you said, that footy pass that he can do, man. See what he can do with that disc throw. Like those post players, they love that type of pass, man. eat that shit up because their defenders aren't as smart as the guard defenders. And seeing that type of pass right there, a guarded defender will be on it a lot quicker than a post player. So I'm excited, man. This will be a fun year for Josh Giddey.
I think for us, we've really come to this conclusion that to start the year, like Shea's not going to be out there. Now, we could be wrong, but this idea that he's going to miss the beginning of training camp, like I can't imagine them being like, oh, skip training camp, just come out and play. Like he's going to have his own training camp of sorts of getting ready for the season, and it's probably not going to be the same one as the teams, and that's fine. So what can we expect from Josh Giddey out on the court if it really is starting out his team?
Well, I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of unselfish basketball out there, and that's something that we've seen in the past is that, you know, getting that ball around the horn and passing it around the horn and get it going quickly. If Shea's not going to be starting, I'm expecting somebody like J-Dub to step up and start in that starting position for the time being. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they decide to go with the Kenny Hustle, and they decide that they want to surround Josh with high-intensity defenders and high-intensity guys that are going to be able to help Josh. So maybe you have Dort on one side and Kenny Hustle, Kendrick Williams on the other side, you know?
Yeah.
And
that was the connection last year, man. Giddey and Kenny. That was, I mean, the timing
I
of
would
his
love to
cuts,
see that. I would love to see that combination out there, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, to me, that, like, cutting is a skill that is so underrated because you can't really, like, I'm sure there are people out there who have advanced statistics on cutting. I'm not saying you can't, but it's difficult, and you have to, like, really understand, timing.
Think about it. Isaiah Roby was good on the other side, too. Those two guys together out there really helped Josh Giddey's game. So we don't have Isaiah Roby now, but we still have our boy there, you know, like he could do some amazing things. He's going to do some great things this year. You know, Kenny Hustle is Mr. Mullet Man. He's going to kill it this year.
And like the play that it's easy to point to is that game against Dallas where Kenny ended up with Luka guarding him, and it was a game-winning pass by Josh Giddey under the basket. But we had been talking about it for weeks prior to that because we had noticed that there was this like nonverbal connection between the two of them. And we had believed that Giddey was, you know, really creative and all these things. We would see certain signs of it with different guys, and he would lead them with passes. But I really think Kenny was the first person to figure out, I think the nonverbal communication with Giddey, and then just give him so much space and confidence to be able to throw the ball to him. He would just lead out and put his hand out there. That's what set him apart. And I think as the team kind of like goes back and studies the film, that's what the most important thing is. When Josh picks up his dribble, when the ball is dead, it's not dead with Josh. That's the important thing. A lot of times I feel like growing up, you were taught when the point guard picks the dribble up, the best thing you can do is go help the point guard out. Go get the ball and get it back, right? You get the point guard set up and make sure his dribble's live. With Josh, it's the opposite. You don't go to Josh to get the ball, right? If you want the ball from Josh, you set up and you cut back door. That's the way. He doesn't need help when the dribble's dead, right? Maybe if he's in the corner, he's getting trapped, I could see that situation being. But usually he'll pick it up around the high post, you know, kind of extended 3-point line, and then he'll get the ball up above his head, ball fake that way, or like get it here and like, and nobody knows where it's going except for him and the guy who's about to catch the ball. That's to me what makes Josh Giddey special. And yeah, that's why I'm pumped up about the start of the season more than anything. It's like, you know, I want to see him with these young guys, and I get it. Everybody's going to be like, oh, they're limited because of their youth. That's fair. I understand that. But in the end, they still got to play the games. And when they go out there, this team is not going to be like, okay, you guys are older than us, you're better than us, we're going to let you have the game. We're going to play to win every game.
Yeah, and I love it when we have those opportunities to take a step back and watch, right? One of those opportunities that we would have had to watch this year would have been, you know, the start of the season with Josh, Chet, and everybody else. You know, that would have been fun to watch. And I want, you know, Shea to be playing with this group of guys, right? But I keep going back to this year, and I'm like, okay, it's important that we compete. It's important that we get big games. It's important that Shea gets out there doing what he can do, right?
Yeah.
But, to me, an MCL, full tear, sprain or whatever is not something to mess around with. And I would rather take a significant amount of time off, make sure that's healthy, than messing around with it. And we've always been this way. We didn't know what was up with Baisley when he got his, broke his scapula. That's during the season. I think a lot of bad things are just closed, circuited during the season. Nobody really knows what's going on. They're really open what happened with Chet and how the injury and the impact and all this other stuff really affected it. I look at this and with Chet, I'm like, okay, like, why rush him back? People are like, why? He could be back for Christmas, and it's like, but why rush him back? We're not playing in this game for, a couple years. We want these guys to have longevity. So with that being said, is how far back are we talking Shea could come back? And I'll stand firm and say that at 8 weeks, I think is the original goal. Like I think they can say that 4 weeks is the goal that he can start running with, contact, but not full speed. And I think by week 8, that's really where we're looking at. So how many games is that? That's about 10 games, 11 games. Okay, so it's still, to me, it's worth it, It's worth it to make sure that Shea is going to be okay than rushing these guys back and eventually hurting ourselves. So we're looking at 10 games without Shea, is my opinion.
All right, and we noticed Giddey went on a run of triple-doubles when Shea was out. I don't think Shea needs to be out for Giddey to get those triple-doubles, but...
Definitely not.
If you were setting the line for Vegas, where would you pick? How many triple-doubles do you think Josh Giddey is going to get this year?
Well, it's funny that we're talking the first 10, 11 games because the first 10, 11 games are, very difficult for this team. We're playing against a lot of great competition. So I think that I would put Josh Giddey at 4 triple-doubles in the first 11 games. And the reason I would say
that's really high.
First 11 games is because there's no other point guard going to be touching the ball for 35 minutes. And Josh Giddey knows way more about the game than he did last year.
Yeah.
He's going to be a more efficient scorer, which is one of the reasons that he didn't get a couple triple-doubles last year was because of scoring.
Right.
So I think he's going to be more efficient with scoring. I think he's going to be more efficient with rebounding because he recognizes how good rebounding is up for getting up the floor as the point guard.
Yeah.
I think we're talking 4 triple-doubles in the first 11 games for Josh. And I think that's conservative as well because I do think that Josh is going to make a very great statement that he's one of the best guards in the league. And I think he's going to get a significant amount of votes this year for being in the All-Star game.
Well, there you go, man. Well, we appreciate everybody taking the time to join us again for another episode of No Offense Sports, the Yankee Death Star, and The Last Storm.
Boom, boom.
Appreciate you guys. We love you, and we will
Triple
see
dinger,
you
baby.
Wednesday.